Please, Kausaki.
Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Suklam Bharadaram Vishnum Sushivaranam Chaturbhujam Prasanavaranam Dhyaye Sava Vigna Prashante. Om Bhurabhuva Suvaha Tatsaviturvaenyam Bhago Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Great. I wanted to start off by saying that I really appreciated the conversation that we had, Ronalda, because it seems like there's a collective consciousness that's going on around the planet. My consciousness has expanded, and my insights and my understanding of this mission and the work that I did for 14 years. Now I'm beginning to understand how important it was for now. It's kind of like we did all these processes, we did all these meditations, we did all these various different things. And I was outlining the talk for today, and it became so apparent the necessity to continue these satsangs and these courses because of a few things. Obviously the world is very turbulent, very chaotic, very uncertain, a lot of conflict, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of fear. And so I was thinking to myself, in preparation for this course, Kausaki, Mohini, myself, we were talking about how it seems like the planet is under this huge struggle between good and evil. And all this poison is really kind of elevating. And there has been like this mass amount of fear. So my first question is like, why the course? Why do we need the course? And why Shiva? And then it dawned on me that Shiva is the person or that being which takes the poison. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it fear. You can call it anxiety. You can call it depression. You can call it conflict. You can call it, it's all around us. And so how do we balance that? How do we get back to center? What do we need? What are the tools and what are the techniques that we can use that will help us? Because that's what we need. We need divine help. Does anybody disagree with that? And we need divine help, and we need divine tools. Because this path is, I realized a long time ago, this path, the value proposition of this path is two things. One is power, self-empowerment. The other one is love. And we underestimate the power of love. I underestimate it all the time. So it was really amazing that we were talking about how much is going on in the world and how much we need to get together for satsang, and that it seems like our collective consciousness has a lot of power to it. Would you say so, Ronaldo? Got to unmute yourself.
Sorry, that was a lot of effort. Yes, I would totally say that. And now is the right time to do it. And yes, Shiva is very important in all of this, as is the mother. So
it's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because my experience is that the mother is the nature, and the mother reflects back to us all the things that are happening. So it's like the weather. It's crazy. I mean, they just had sub-zero temperatures in Texas.
Yeah. And the poles are about to flip again too. Like, I mean, it's been beyond time for that to happen, right? So.
Yeah. So it's really interesting because Swami Kalashwar used to talk about calming the mother down, because the mother is just a reflection of the nature to us. You know, how much poison we're vomiting out and how much negativity we're experiencing. She's just a mirror for us. So the question is, what's the solution? And we all know, based on our training and our experiences being with Sri Kalashwar, which was a very advanced soul, was that you need Shiva energy on the planet in order to calm the mother down. And, you know, Swami used to do that over 14 years when we would have darshans. He would always give a darshan, then quickly revert us back to a Shiva process. And there was a mechanism to that, because whenever you want to deal with the mother and her illusions and the Maya and the reflections and all this stuff, where do we go? We go back to Shiva, because it's that stability that calms the nature down. It calms that turbulence, because the Maya is going to reflect back to us are good, bad, and ugly. And that's just her role. She's not a personality, I guess. So go ahead, Kowski. What do you want to say?
Say too is that, you know, all our personal mantras are linked back to Shiva too. So it's a protection against the Maya illusion nature of things. It also helps to balance out our energy. And, you know, if you think about all the gurus, all the linking goes all the way back to Shiva. He's the primordial guru. He's the one that everything goes back to. When we die, our soul goes back to him, you know, and he takes care. And it's kind of like you get debriefed and then you go back to the mother and she sends you back in again. And so, you know, with how do we break that? But everything goes back to Shiva. So it's really important to understand, you know, who is Shiva? Why do we need to link to Shiva? What's his role in our spiritual process? You know, if you look at the God, generator, Brahma, operator, Vishnu, destroyer, Shiva, everything goes through a cycle. My feeling is we are really going through a destruction cycle right now. So how do we continue to hold the light and maneuver through this time frame to help others to manage this period of time when we see so many things that are out of balance, and we're moving into like a higher frequency on the planet, etc. So, you know, honestly, Swami wanted everybody, and every, you know, master wants to bring people's energy up to vibrate at a higher frequency so that we can then in turn help the small people around us, to help then everybody we encounter, to just keep on bringing up the vibrational frequencies on the planet and continue to move and grow. So Shiva is super important. And during this time of year, you know, as we're moving into Shiva Ratri, it's like it's an opportunity to really capture his energy and ask for his assistance and his help, not just for us personally, but also for whatever can help at this period of time, as the planet is shifting, as we're moving through a lot of awakening to what the reality has been for eons, behind all of this craziness has been a dark energy and a dark force, and how to continue to ask for his assistance so that we can then move forward. So that's the importance of Shiva Ratri time. It's an opportunity to ask Shiva for some tool to be able to help us manage not just us, but the energy on the planet. So it's a powerful time. And it's, Swami always did big processes on these high energy times, Shiva Ratri being one of them. And Shiva Ratri, that night is a time to connect. He wakes up most of the rest of the year, he's in meditation. Mother is not paying attention to us because Shiva's awake and she gets to get his attention. So, she just wants us to go away now, children, so that she can be with her husband. So, they're going to give out some boons. So we need to be really, really clear on what we're asking for. And it's not a selfish desire. It's something that we can help to use on the planet for this time frame. So we'll talk about that in the course. What is it that we want to, how do we ask? How to refine that asking? What is it that we're needing not only in our spiritual practice that will help us move and grow as well. So that's part of this whole process of this Shiva Ratri. It's kind of a two-part program. First 2 weeks, we'll be really focusing on Shiva and using and capturing this time of Shiva Ratri and the energy to Shiva. We'll be doing a process to really connect to his energy. And again, like we'll talk about, is refining that, what we would like to ask for. And then the following 2 weeks, we really have a great boon this year that Shiva Ratri and Swami's Mahasamadhi, his 9th anniversary, is so close together. So then we'll follow the following 2 weeks with connecting to Swami. And Swami left a lot of amazing power objects in the ashram. We're going to really delve into what are the Shiva lingams that he left in the ashram, what their purpose was, and how we can connect to those as we move into his Mahasamadhi day. So again, that's another opening of time and energy that we can link into to deepen our spiritual practice and our own personal spiritual growth. So it's going to be this year kind of a twofold kind of thing, because we have this great time of Shiva Ratri with Swami's Mahasamadhi.
Yeah. It's amazing how much Swami Kaleshwar left behind for exactly this period, because he saw everything that was happening. He saw what was going on. So we're going to be introducing a special process during this Shiva Ratri time, which will help us to link to Shiva, which will help us to also link to Swami Kaleshwar. This path is a Guru Parampara. It starts at Sri Kaleshwar, then goes to Baba, and then it goes all the way down to Shiva. So the question is, why do we need all these connections? Because it's really difficult to do it by yourself. He left power objects behind so we can connect to it, so that it could help us. He left processes behind, which we're going to be using during this Shiva Ratri time to help us connect. He also wanted to have groups, satsang, because that helps us in our process. I had forgotten how great it was see you all and to participate energetically with everybody. And I'm realizing the power of satsang, the power of group, the power of community, especially during times of the high energy of Shiva Ratri. So you combine process, you combine connecting to a divine soul who's very active. Don't think that Baba, when he left his body, his energy diminished, or Swami, when he left his body, his energy diminished. My experience has been that these great beings are still around on a very advanced high plane of existence, and they are intervening on our behalf, guiding us. But we need to be able to connect to these souls through satsang, through courses, through engaging and grinding the knowledge, using mantras, using yantras to help our soul to elevate. And the protection of all these combined is extremely powerful. It's the timing of Shiva Ratri. It's the divine souls that are there. It is the power of the group. It's the power objects that are linked to the Guru stand, or the seat of the Guru that links back to Shiva, that when we think and connect to that place, that energy comes back to us. And that there's this symbiotic relationship that is our soul reconnecting, recharging, and decharging. So we're going to talk about that during the course. We're going to bring up all these techniques, all these meditations, all these mantras, culminating with Shiva Ratri. So we'll have 2 weeks before, leading up to Shiva Ratri. Then after Shiva Ratri, going into Swami Kaleshwar's Samadhi timing, and then the final 2 weeks of the course. So we're here today to see if you guys had any questions. And did you have? It's interesting. Whenever there's an intense time, it's always a great opportunity for the high positive as well. So do you guys have any questions or anything you wanted to share, or anything that you want, or what you want to get out of the course, or anything like that? Just feel free to. Susan Salam.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question, especially for the connections between Shiva and the angels, because I read it everywhere that they are connected, and I'm very connected to angels, but Shiva is still very abstract. For me, it's just now pure consciousness, and that's it. But how this connection, do we also talk about this in the course? Because angels, for me, I can grab them. They are very, very alive. Yeah, that's the question.
I'll let you guys answer the question. Ronalda, Cecilia.
So if you have a Shiva Lingam, right? Okay. What's the shape?
An egg?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does it have a beginning or an end?
No, not really.
Okay. So Shiva's energy is boundless. It's this boundless energy that is out there. It's really hard because he is unconditional love and peace. It's really the way that you connect. I'm going to put it this way. The way you connect to his energy is through meditation and that deep silence. So using the sky mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, your personal mantra, these are all Shiva mantras. The bijas that are in the Sri chakra, the angels that you say, those are all, you know, connecting also to Shiva. So a lot of these energies that become form for us in the way of Shiva, Mother, Hanuman, are accessed primarily through meditation and through our process. I think if you read all this, okay, so I read the book, the Shiva Puranas, and it talks about, it takes a lot of meditation for many years for whoever is dedicated before Shiva comes before them. Swami shortened that. He shortened it because he's the bridge to Shiva. And this time frame, which is Shiva Ratri, is that door opening for that 24-hour period. So he is going to guide us and lead us to that Shiva energy. It might not be in a physical form, but it's a tangible, energetic form. And it's kind of, all these energies are a little bit different. So you access them through your meditations by using the mantras. I think the angels, well, I shouldn't say that. My understanding of angel energy is that they are sent by particular divine souls to help on the planet. Shiva is, his energy is like taking care. He is taking care of all the souls. It's huge. So am I wrong? And Paula, do you want to jump in here for a minute? I mean, it's like that's my understanding.
Yeah.
The angels are sent. They're an energy that's sent to help.
Yeah. So when you connect to Shiva, automatically the angels are there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the levels and the structures of creation that they're there to help on behalf of Shiva or a divine soul. And Swami had mentioned many times that he sends his angels to do his work and his bidding, because Swami was like 95% Shiva character. And so he accessed the angels often. And, you know, it's like the emissary of Shiva or a divine soul connecting to these angels. I mean, it's not the end point, but it is part of the structure of creation, that when you start to evolve, when you start accessing Shiva's energy, you also start accessing the angels. And it's an interim part. We actually did a series on the angels as well. I didn't realize how important angels were as far as part of the creation, but you can, in your spiritual evolution, you can actually start creating angels yourself. It's an advanced technique, but
can I jump in here with one thing? Now, angels, it's great that you're connecting, but that's not like what Paul was saying, an end point. Many people in their spiritual process think that once they connect to the angels, they're done, but they're not. You can get stuck there, but there's more beyond that. The angels are here to help us, to guide us, to, you know, show us at a particular point in time which direction to go. Or maybe you can say, hey, I really need you to take care of my child or my parent or my friend or whatever. Can you please go help them out? But Swami warned us about just stopping with the angels, because there's more beyond the angels to move towards. So just be aware of that.
I mean, ultimately, you know, in this 5 elements world, it's a world of diversity, and angels comprise one part of it. even when you take a look at the creation, it is a play of Shiva and Shakti. And it's the five elements creation. But what was one of Swami's objectives was to be able to become really linked with both Shiva and Shakti and to understand those energies. That's why he said the importance of becoming a master of the mother and the father is to become masters of the elements. That's why the five elements are so important, because they are, when you, we're a little bit tangent, but I think it's a really important point, because everything goes back to the elements, because within the elements, you can master the elements and the energy of the elements. And then you can become a co-creator with the elements. And, Shiva Ratri is an auspicious time to strengthen those elements within you, because we are composed of that. And even on the subtler and subtler levels, the purification happens. Talking to angels is not uncommon. So, like I said, when you come to Shiva Ratri, you can ask for anything. You can ask to be able to connect and communicate directly with the mother and the father. Have them be there to help you with your dharma.
Swami was always, his whole point was to help us to embody and embrace and be able to use both the love and the power. And if you look at, he always wanted us to go to Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is pure love, unconditional pure love. Shakti is the power that goes behind it. So what we're trying to do is balance those two things, love and power, to help on the planet as warriors, or as, not only for ourselves, but also for helping here at this time frame. So Shiva Ratri is an amazing time to, like Paul was saying, connect to both Shiva and Shakti, because where one is, the other is. So, it's just an awesome time to really think deeply. And I would say between now and a couple of weeks, when Shiva Ratri is the 11th, to really meditate deeply on what it is that you're wanting to ask for. If Shiva and Shakti were sitting right in front of you, what would you ask for? And I would start kind of meditating on that. So you have to start getting the process rolling. I mean, once you sign up, that process starts. So you can maybe start thinking about that, as you start clarifying your intention.
Yeah. So it really comes down to, what do you need in your spiritual process? Everyone should be thinking on that. What is separating you from that inner contentment, that inner bliss, that happiness in your life? And everybody has that. And we're actually starting a very deep discussion here. What do you need in your spiritual practice? Forget your material. Your material comes and goes. And before you know it, the life that we were born into is over. So we're not talking about your material desires. That's just not what we're focusing on. But what are your spiritual desires? What is that between your inner happiness? What do you need, And, for me, I'll just share, it's like, to be able to be in that state of centeredness in the midst of all this chaos. To be so steeped in that inner consciousness, so I can see clearly the ups and downs of this creation so that I'm not afraid of anything, and I'm just using that as an example. I think that I think that these are really important questions, and I throw it out to the audience. What is it that you're really yearning in your life, in your spiritual life? What is it that you're yearning, that you really want from the depth of your soul to experience, to establish, to be connected with, leading up to Shiva Ratri? And that's what the course is going to do. We are going to bring forth some knowledge, but we're also going to be grinding within the group. What is the opportunity available during this period of time? And how can we work together as a group to support each other to see what's possible? This is not a seminar about how you can improve yourself and how you can get your better skill sets and how you can be, a better marketing person or how you can make $1 million. It is about personal inner transformation. I mean, wouldn't it be great to have a darshan? Whether it be a darshan of an angel, a darshan of Mother Divine, a darshan of Shiva, a darshan of a divine soul, and then hook that. So it's not a one-time thing, where you really have an unbelievably strong connection with the divine soul, so that when you're doing your work out in the world, you feel connected and protected and guided by these divine beings, helping you every step of your way. Or have a divine, or have a darshan of Jesus. I mean, it's many of us have had darshans of Jesus, and many of us have had, experiences of him, but to have a darshan where we can, ask him the questions that we want, or have him part of our lives and our healing practices, like that. So I'm bringing these as examples so that people can think about it. That's the level of this course. It's about getting to the next level. Did anybody have any questions, or anybody would like to share anything about that? Yes, Suzanne.
Yeah, again, to the thing of darshan, because I learned from all of you that that you can have a darshan with Mother Divine, and now you're saying that you can also have a darshan of Shiva and of the divine souls. So I just want to share an experience I had when I did the womb process, and I did the mantra from the mother, and I was in the middle of the forest, thousands of trees, and I was just before I did the mantra, I was asking, please please show me a sign or whatever. I wanted to have this how do you say that mother is showing me so that is there.
Confirmation. And then you wanted confirmation that she's real.
Yeah, good. And that's what I asked for. And then I did the mantras, and then my eyes were falling on a tree, and in the tree somebody carved in the word Jesus, in the middle of the forest. So is this a darshan, or is this something? It was really, I was just totally amazed. And for angels, I always see them in my mind. So I see angels very often, but I don't see them physically. So are these darshans already, or I don't know? Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, I mean, it's the beginning of the universe and the divine reaching back to you and reaching out to you. We all have at different times those type of experiences. I've had experiences of divine souls where they appear and then they disappear. I had this in India. It was a darshan of a saint that Swami had mentioned to us, and he showed up, and we had our interaction, and then he went around the corner and disappeared. I mean, when we went to Shirdi, Kauski and myself, and we had many instances where it was obvious that Baba appeared in the form of a dog, uh, and all of a sudden it was a confirmation because we set our intention. See, the point of it is that you had a soul yearning confirmation. And these things are really important for us on our spiritual path because it gives us hope. It gives us inspiration, not to mention the energy in that moment, but it's not the end point, Suzanne. You want a more powerful, tangible connection where you can interact with that energy at will. Look at Yogananda. Look at Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had darshan every night with Mahakali. But what's beautiful is that you should have your consciousness there, and also you have to prepare. You can't just expect, Mother Divine to show up with all 8 hands and, blood dripping from her tongue like Mahakali. You have to prepare yourself to be able to handle that energy or that relationship, and that's why Swami spent years helping us to prepare. And the preparation is as important because it purifies us, it strengthens us, it allows us to be intelligent in our pursuit of these relationships. Because along with the mother comes also responsibility to handle her illusions, to be able to work with the angels requires stamina. It requires discrimination. It requires us to understand our personal desires and also our weak spots. We are as strong as our weakest link within us. And these are important points within the spiritual path. I know everybody in the New Age movement, they want to experience just the bliss. But the bliss is not just, spirituality is not just about the bliss. The bliss can be a little bit of an addiction, one part, but this path is about mastery. It's about self-mastery. And I hope you really understand it. So Shiva Ratri is a time where we let go of our limited understanding, our deepest poisons, because when you release the poison, there's more nectar there. And not nectar like a bliss bunny nectar. It's like it's the amruta of our soul, which is a constant state of awareness and consciousness. And when you link when you are in that experience, it's pure bliss. It's not a high and it's not a low. It is who you are. And I hope that really helps you to understand, because it took me a while to really get to my awareness about what this path was about. One part, it's about the love. And the other part is about the power and the responsibility that comes along with that. If we want to, the days of sitting in the cave and going to bliss are over. There is the bliss in the moment. Believe me, there are the bliss moments. And you cherish those moments. And that but you are conscious of where that bliss is coming from. It's coming from within you. And it's not a concept, it's an experience, it's a state of being that is linked with Shiva. And I hope that makes sense, because that's really what the course is about. It's not about the peak experience. It's about discovering who you are and staying in that place of awareness, no matter what happens out in the world. And that's freeing. That's freeing. When you can become greater than the fear that holds you captive, that is worth its weight in gold. And that's what the course is about. I hope that answered the question. Anybody else have any questions? Don't be fearful. Ask your questions or share with us what you'd like to receive out of the course. Yes, I see that smile on Trinity's face. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any questions or sharings specifically about what you want?
Can I just jump ahead and suggest someday we do a course about connecting to the aliens that are here for our greatest good?
Yeah, I'm going to preface by saying that it's really quite interesting. We call them, or the society calls them quote unquote aliens. And the minute we say that word aliens, we think of these little gray things with big heads and big eyes walking around like that. My experience is that there are advanced souls on this planet that we think were born into this creation. But my direct experience is that, and I've done the research on this, is that a lot of these beings came to this planet specifically for the upliftment of humanity. So I don't call them aliens. I call them advanced beings from another loca or another planet. And it's kind of interesting because I did a talk on this back in I think beginning of this year actually. And what the talk was to say that these advanced beings, whether it be Yogananda or his lineage of Yukteswar or Sri Kaleshwar or Shri Sai Baba, they were advanced beings from, I would say, advanced beings, not of this planet. And they came to show us what human potential is. They were just incarnated into the Indian culture so that they could get to their consciousness level. And then they did all these miracles. I mean, if you really read the ancient scriptures of India with the rishis and stuff like that, they weren't from this planet. They had supernatural powers. They had supernatural consciousness. They understood the 5 elements. They were masters of the 5 elements, and they were able. They came here to help us understand creation and who we were. And I believe that Sri Kaleshwar also was an advanced soul that incarnated because he had an agreement with that. Even Jesus, he didn't come. He was created specifically to come and help humanity, and you can bring up so many other examples. So to address that issue, you can connect to those divine souls at any time. And look at Shiva. I mean, he's blue, and he had supernatural abilities and powers. He was able to connect to angels. He sits in a graveyard and connects to like a yantra, and all these divine beings have connections to this. We're essentially doing the same thing. And what we're doing is we're connecting to the cosmic. When we're connecting to the cosmic, we're connecting to those beings that operate on a higher vibrational field. So I don't like the flying saucers philosophy too much, because I think it's limiting. But I do believe that when we're connecting to our higher state of consciousness, we're accessing that stream of consciousness that all these advanced beings are operating and communicating to us. And sometimes they appear in physical form just to kind of convince us that they're there. I hope that answered the question, Ronaldo. Got to unmute yourself.
Yes, it did answer the question. Thank you.
It's a good question, actually. It's a really good question.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right to call them aliens. They have names.
And I'm sure they are but we want to connect to the divine beings that are linked with this tradition, because they're there for our benefit, and they use that Shiva energy to help awaken our consciousness. It's amazing what happens when your consciousness is awakened. It's like all of a sudden it's kind of like this. Oh my God. And then we operate differently when we become awake.
Oh, and I just wanted to share one other thing. So I've been doing a lot of baking and stuff, and I've been actually sharing recipes with like my VPs and the EVP. And so my executive vice president asked me to do a cooking class for all of IT. So as Mohini said, it's like I'm like Baba, and I'm cooking their souls, so to speak.
Or you're sharing the bliss of Ronaldo Laird and putting that divine energy in the cooking dough, and then letting it rise and to be given out as bliss bunny biscuits. By the way, don't feel shy, and always feel that sharing with your brothers and sisters on this call too, not just your IT department.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I'll send you a fruitcake. It'll take a while to get there.
Gluten-free, please.
Sometimes I feel like a fruitcake, to be very frank with you.
I made 45 fruitcakes. I actually gave a lot of them away. So almost all of them. Right.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Anybody else like to share before we sign off?
Are we going to be doing a specific?
Well, sorry I was late, everybody.
Oh,
Nice to see you, Doreen. You've
Yay,
been on my mind
Doreen.
lately.
I
Love
know.
your haircut, Doreen.
Thank you. Only when you have to wear a mask up to here at work, so I didn't want just eyes showing, but anyway, it's good to see everybody. Gosh, what a year it's been, huh? For everybody. OMG. A lot of changes, I'm sure, for everyone, and me too. And for me, I just look forward to being in satsang again, and Shiva Ratri is around. So Shiva to me is always about connecting to the silence, and it's a kind of a centering kind of thing, and to the cosmic, to the silence. And there's a lot of chaos in the world right now. So I think that's going to be, just a, I don't know, an extra boost towards.
It's a churning of the ocean. Doreen. It's really the churning of the ocean.
Churning.
We're going to talk about that in the class.
Absolutely.
That in order to get to the nectar, you got to churn the ocean. And we can't just focus on just I mean, it's so easy.
Well, of course,
Go ahead.
no, I know what you're saying, but of course, those of us that have been on this path for a long time, we've been churning our ocean for a long time, right? And we've never stopped churning our ocean. So the world's churning now, and how to stay centered and in not the bliss, but I mean, the bliss is great, but I'm talking more about staying centered and staying peaceful. Let's use that word, peaceful.
Right.
Because it's really easy to get triggered right now, and everybody's polarizing. And so I always like to say it's not either or, it's both and more. And I'm moving out of duality. I don't know about you guys, but I'm moving totally out of duality, where I'm just not taking any sides of anything.
Right.
I have my affinities and my dislikes, but I'm not polarizing myself. And so anyway, I always like to gather with high vibe people, and I consider this group a high vibe community. And I look forward to satsang. Unfortunately, I think the first class I'm coming in a half hour late again, but I'm all in whatever we're doing. And Shiva gives, he's the giver, Bola Shankara. So don't forget that. Remember what you want to ask him for. Thank you for doing.
There's a Yogananda quote, which I think is very appropriate for this time. I stand serene in the middle of life's storms. So it's getting to that place where you're looking at everything from all sides, like Doreen was saying. You're not getting pulled one way or the other, but you're taking information in from all the directions, because it's a full picture. It's not just a one little piece over here, whatever. It's a full picture. And how to look at that from a place of sthiti pragnata, where you're not getting pulled, you're not getting triggered, you're not reacting. I mean, some things frustrate me, and then I have to pull myself back and say, okay, I have no control over this. It is what it is. And I just have to keep on going my direction and standing in a place of holding the light and keeping in that center. So it's a really good affirmation that he gave out. I stand serene in the middle of life's storms. So, we just have to remember that from a day-to-day basis, sometimes moment to moment. So.
Well, we'll be practicing the tools to help us ease into that state of being, because, the tools and the processes are designed for exactly that. Because it's like the churning of the ocean. We have to balance the poison, and we have to really balance the amrutam. That's the challenge. It's not so easy. Yes, Ronaldo.
I was laughing when you were saying that, because at work, there would be people calling me to tell me just their frustrations, not anything IT related, trying to get me involved in fixing the problem. And I would just say, I cannot get involved in this, and I can hear what you have to say, but it has to be you that actions it, not me. But the old me would have jumped in and got myself fired, or, I would have done everything I could. This time around, I'm just a listener. So that was very appropriate to say.
Yeah,
I'm not here to pick sides.
Yeah, but a lot of times people look to you because your energy. See, that's the thing, on the spiritual path, it's just, people look to those vibrations to say, I just need to talk to you. It's because of your vibrations, it's because of the vibrations. It's because you emanate peace, you emanate love, and people are drawn to that. because it resonates at the cellular and at the soul level as well. Yeah.
Yeah, this time around, I just choose not to be the fixer like the old me, which I could see that it was a huge test. Like I could see the fishing pole and the rod and reeling in, and I'm just like, nope. Because it was a male female issue, the boys club versus the women's club. So that was really hard for me to stay out of.
Cool. Okay. Anybody else have a question or a share before we start to wrap things up? Yes, Trinity.
Hi, hi everybody. I'm in another part of the hemisphere, so in a place where quarantine is very much the lifestyle here. So if you see me put on my mask, it's because there's people walking by without one, because that's part of the life here. It's pretty interesting. It's interesting. Somebody just approached me and I think they want to sit on my bench. So let me ask them. Dígame.
¿Sabe dónde arrendan piezas por aquí?
Ay, no, señora. No, me disculpa, pero en realidad no,
Ya,
no
mi amor.
sé. ¿Quiere tomar asiento? ¿Sí?
No, que acá no. Usted ya andaba también de buena voluntad, puede verle por acá por este sector.
Es que
Vaya con Martínez.
estoy en una llamada internacional.
I guess she's in South America somewhere.
Me da un
And then
minutito. I am. That was so interesting how that happened. That's just what you were, Paul, you were just talking about how people are just drawn to the energy.
exactly.
That was really wild. I come to this little place to meditate, which is, and I can show everybody, it's just a little, I'm in this little town in Chile. It's a small town, taking care of my mother. Came here in the middle of chaos. And so I come to get away from the daily deal there. So I come here to this little plaza type place to meditate and to be in the nature. And it's a Sunday, so they're under full quarantine. You're supposed to have a special permit and they're under, it's a very restrictive situation, but I come anyway without a permit. So that's interesting to begin with. And then just now, these two ladies, as you were just talking about being drawn to the energy, they came, I could see them approaching me, and they just asked me some questions about where they could find a place to live. So that was that's just a very, I wasn't even going to talk about that. I was going to just.
Oh my God, I just have to say that.
It is so wild because I wasn't even going to say that, but it just happened just now. So yeah, so the energy, what I was going to tell you all is that I happened to sit down and I went to check my email. We have I think it's 5-hour difference with California. You're in California, right, Paul?
Yes.
And I just happened to check my email and I saw that there was the satsang today. So I thought, well, I'll connect and see if I'm able to connect. And I connected immediately. And that's how I ended up with you guys here today. So serendipity, I don't know. Yeah.
Never any accidents ever. I mean,
It is.
And that's really how the divine souls and the angels work. It's really a confirmation of how the divine energies, the angels, and the divine souls just pull situations and people to show you something, and that's a confirmation.
Yeah, it's I'm kind of it's almost like what took place in the last few minutes. It's almost mind-boggling. Of course it's mind-boggling. It's got nothing to do with the mind, right? Anyway, yeah, when does the course, I'm so sorry to have to ask this, but in my daily tasks that I have in my mother's care. I can't keep up with emails. When does the class start?
So the class starts next Sunday, the 28th
Okay.
of February, and
Okay.
all the classes will be recorded. So
Okay.
if you can't hop on, it's really great to be able to go back and get the recordings, and also there'll be weekly handouts so that there'll
Okay.
be knowledge that'll be shared and stories that'll be shared. And so these courses are really an oasis, and the satsangs are just so deep. And I mean, we're just having a 1 hour intro, and I have to tell you, it's like the energy is off the charts. It's really wonderful.
Okay. And then the classes will be at around the same time on Sundays?
Yeah, 10 to 11:30, an hour and a half, and we try to keep it as close to an hour and a half as possible. And you can just go to the website, srikaleshwaruniversity.org, and we made the course as affordable as we possibly could, and it's just wonderful. It's a demonstration of the power of satsang and community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm. Okay, I think that's it for today. We're just a little bit over an hour. And if anybody wants to get a hold of us, just send us an email. We'll start next weekend. I'll be sending out a bunch of emails this week, just marketing and promoting and getting all the people. It's always the last week before the first course that everyone says, "Oh, I'm gonna join in," like that. So that's normal. So look for the emails and all the links for that as well. And that's it. And Kowski, you want to wrap it up with the closing mantras?
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your participation and your sharing. And we look forward to seeing you next Sunday, February 28th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. German Standard Time, and any other time wherever you guys are.
There is no time. Time is an illusion.
Great call. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.